Hey guys, this is Dinosaur Drawer, and this is part 3 on how to draw a Jurassic World logo. And yeah, we're gonna be focusing on doing some shadow. And actually, I'll get all the color. And there's an ambulance. Sorry for that noise. Right, so we're just gonna be darkening every line, and especially this one over here, because there appears to be a lot of shadow underneath it. And actually, there appears to be another outer line surrounding the whole circle. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doing that line, but it's actually better to use some kind of a small paper so you won't smush any uh, graphite of your drawing. I'm not gonna be using that, unfortunately, but yeah, if you're not gonna be using such kind of a small paper, then it's better to just watch out where you place your hand. Right now, I don't have to pay that much attention to it yet, but the time will come. Alright, so just darkening this line. And on this side, just a tiny bit, not too much. But you do wanna darken those lines. Actually. And then you want to leave actually a bit of light, some kind of a light source on the top of the sign. Alright, and I'm just gonna be turning the paper just a tiny bit, so it's easier for me to actually draw the shadow line. Alright, and now we're just actually gonna be starting to draw in some my camera won't focus again. Right, to draw in some shadow. You have to pay attention to the transition from dark to light. It has to be fluid. It really has to be fluid. So yeah, I decided that I wanted to do other highlight spots, but still keep this one. This one right here. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I have to pay attention to those highlight spots I just drew in. Just go over it layer by layer. And make this a tiny bit lighter than everything else. I think I'm gonna be using this one, a mechanical pencil, because I can make some finer lines and I don't have to press down that hard. Alright, so let's darken in this part a little bit more. And do some more shadow. And actually, the mechanical pencil gives it a very nice effect, because in the logo of Jurassic World there seem to be scratches all around the logo. And this is actually a great way to get in those sketches. So let's darken this one a little bit more. Alright, so that's one part of our logo. And I'm just gonna be turning my paper again. That's easier for me. And do the same over here. And pay attention to the highlight spots. So there is one highlight spot over here. And over here, just for a little bit. And over here you can just go ahead and put this shadow into it. Still pay attention to the highlight spots, because the highlight spots are actually very important in this logo. So let's just darken in those lines. And these are the important lines that I'm putting in right now. Because if I mess up these lines, you can't erase them anymore. So I have to pay very much attention to this part. There's the eyebrow. And there's the shadow of its jaw. So, like I said before, I'm just gonna be drawing a very dark line between the teeth and the jaw. So it looks like they are disconnected. Alright. And in this part you want to be very precise. Also darken in those parts. Alright. And now I have to pay close attention to this bone. Alright. just darkening every line. It's very important, this part. Because it has to be clear. You have to be able to clearly see the difference between the depth. All right. Excuse me. So now the last part, actually. All right. So there you have it. Now I'm just gonna be turning the paper again because it's easier. And actually, you want to darken in those teeth too. Because there's quite a bit of shadow behind the teeth. Oh, sorry. I wasn't paying attention to my camera. And there appears to be one big teeth sticking out. Those are actually parts I forgot. So I'm just redoing some of the teeth. So that looks a little bit better in my perspective. Alright. Let's put in a little bit more shadow over here. And a bit over here actually. This edge. And I want to darken in this a little bit more, but I don't want it to be as dark as this part. And also over here, I want to darken it a little bit more, but still leave some parts fairly light. So I'm using a very fine point so I can get some scratches in the drawing, like in the logo. And that's something you can clearly see in this drawing. So again, I'm just putting in some highlight spots. As you can see, I can't really see it very good, but I'll make sure you can see it, and later when I'm finished with the drawing, when the drawing is actually finished, I'm just going layer over layer. That way it gives it more like a metallic look. Don't know if you can actually see some highlight spots. And if it turns out that you actually can't see any highlighted spots, then I'll just erase some spots, and I'll put in some more detail and some highlight. I'm putting in the shadow behind the skeleton, just like I did with the edge, with those edges, and the shadow behind teeth. That's actually pretty hard because I don't want to mess up any teeth, but it appears to be looking pretty okay. All right. And some shadow over here, actually. Just surround the skeleton with a little bit of shadow, a little darker than everything else around it. It's actually the way to draw those shadows in. And the snow. Oh, my feet are getting numb again. I'm sorry, guys. All right. Let's now give the dinosaur itself, the skeleton itself, some color and perspective. So I'm just drawing some tiny lines and some scratches, actually, to well, to actually indicate this. I don't know what it looks like, but it's a very light metal without any color. That's what it actually looks like. And that's also what I'm actually trying to get into the drawing. But I first have to give it a little, maybe this way. And this should be for about dark enough. I don't want to make this too dark, actually. I really don't. And that's actually, the snout has got a bit more color into it, I think. So that's what I'm gonna be trying to draw in. And then just smush it. And then if you are done with the right tone, you can just get those lines into it to make the scratches and stuff. A lot of scratches, actually. And the skeleton isn't actually too hard to draw. Not at all. But I think I overdid the tone a little bit, so I'm just going to erase some tiny bits. You don't want too much color in your skeleton, actually. I'm just creating some scratches. And this is actually a highlight. Alright, so that's done. And now let's get to the trees. Well, no, the holes in its skull still has to get some shadow. Something I forgot to do. Alright. There we go. So let's focus on doing the trees right now. So again, you want to make those lines dark and everything, but first we're gonna make the lines of the trees pop out a little bit more and make some more small details, actually. Some holes in it and all kinds of stuff going on around here. So it looks more like trees. Let's focus the camera on it. Yeah. I don't know if you can see it very good, but well, let's just continue and get some holes in it and make it look like real trees. Because this one is also going to be looking a little bit odd, but I think I can get it all right, looking all right. I mean, so yeah, those trees are for about finished. And let's get a little bit more shadow over here. A lot of shadow actually. A lot of shadow over here. I want it to pop out a little more. I apologize for those noises again. If you can hear it, I don't know if you can hear it, but my house is located next to a road where a lot of cars um, have to cross to go to their jobs, and it's just it is used a lot by a lot of people. These roads. Actually, I think that looks pretty okay. And get the highlights in it, but and now we want to give this a little bit of tone and color. Yeah, just the same as the T-Rex. Just get those scratches in it and leave it a little bit white-like. Just like this. And I think I have to get more. Now I have to pay attention to where I lay down my hand, because otherwise I can mesh up my whole drawing, and I don't want that. I'm just gonna be making it a little bit darker because the T-Rex has to pop up the most. I think that should be dark enough. And then this one, this side, make it also a little bit darker, but still pay attention to those highlights. Don't want to mess it up. Look at that, that looks great, my opinion on it. Alright. And now the final part, which is kind of the easiest part, the letters, the sign. Yeah, we just have to darken in this part, very dark, and don't go over the letters, but I first have to put in those highlights. So there's a highlight over here, going that, well, actually going that way, and going that way. That's where I have to pay attention to. That's all. Alright. So just go layer over layer. You don't want to go too dark, because if you go a little too dark, it's gonna be hard to get everything as dark as that point that you made too dark. Alright. At this point it would be better to use a regular pencil, but I find it well, I find this pencil a little, it feels great to draw actually, so I'm just gonna stick with this pencil. You can use whatever you like, but I'm just suggesting some things. Alright, so as you can see right now, I've almost got every single part of this sign to the same tone, and now I'm gonna be using a different tone over it, a darker tone. That's the way you can get it darker and darker and darker, as dark as you want it to be. That's the best way, my experience actually. Oh, alright. So you really want those letters to point out actually. Alright, let's go over it with a different tone. Just a slightly bit darker. That's all. Oh, and I forgot my highlight. That's something that you have to keep paying attention to. Right, so you want the highlight to be lighter than everything else, but still you don't want it to be white, right? At least I don't want it to be white. So as you go over things, you go over your highlight as well, but just do it in a slightly lighter tone. And I'm actually kind of rushing over this because yeah, I don't have a lot of time to do this actually, because this video is already quite long, so I have to actually rush through everything right now. And I know that this is gonna be quite a lot of time to upload this video. That's also one thing I want to pay attention to. I don't want this video to be too long, but it seems that it's gonna be a very, very long video actually. And that's not really something that you want. Again, I'm just highlighting that spot over there and then just go over it again with some lines. And it seems to be that this spot isn't dark enough yet. This spot isn't dark enough yet either. And then the final thing we have to do on this sign is get some darker lines around the letters. And that's the final thing. Alright, we're almost done. Okay. So that seems quite nice in my opinion. But it still has to be darker actually. Well, let's keep it at this tone, not make it any darker. Would have been quite a good idea to cut some bits out of the video. Actually, I can do that, but I don't know if you guys like it. Alright, now let's go over those lines again.